Hi, I'm David Pitts.
And I'm Nathaniel Pitts.
My son Nathaniel. We have been in quarantine now. Not really quarantine. Social isolation, social distancing.
Prison.
It's not prison. It's not prison. Prison's a lot different. As you can tell, we both have like social isolation hair, and we're not wearing our makeup or anything. So it's been going on like this for like how long has it been?
I think about 4 years.
4 years. Just feels like 4 years, but it's been what, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, something like that. When did the mayor Nuremberg call for social isolation or for social distancing, shutting things down? When did that happen? I'm sure you remember the exact dates. No?
March 20th, I think.
March 20th? That sounds about right. So it's April 26th. So 5 weeks now. 5 weeks now that things have been shut down, and we've had lots of time to talk about this and argue. We have different opinions about social distancing, the shutdown, shelter in place. It's not enslavement. It's not enslavement. He's a little dramatic. We have different opinions about this. I think that these are, if they're difficult but necessary measures, and Nathaniel thinks they are
a gross violation of our constitutional rights.
A gross violation of our constitutional rights. Did you think that they were violating Typhoid Mary's constitutional rights when they asked her to get out of the food service industry?
Well, no, but if they quarantine her entire family and her entire town and island.
I don't know. I don't know. The thing is that quarantine historically has been the method that they use for stopping an epidemic when they don't have a vaccine. Like, they don't have a vaccine for this now, and there's no guarantee that they're going to have one anywhere, anytime particularly soon. People will herd immunity. Well, the only reason we have herd immunity from smallpox, the reason people don't get smallpox anymore is that we've had the vaccine for so long that the disease has been pretty much eradicated. Nobody has it to spread it anymore, but it required the vaccine. It didn't require everybody going out and getting smallpox in order for that to happen.
But how deadly is the COVID-19 virus?
I'm reading different things. It's hard to say because, to be fair, they don't have accurate testing numbers because, our administration has so completely failed at leadership and didn't have tests available, even though they had time to plan for that. And they turned down the WHO's tests, and they wanted, of course, I think somebody was trying to make a buck on the testing, as things often go, these days. Somebody's trying to make $1 off of it. So,
but Dad, you know what has 100% death rate? Starvation.
Starvation does have a 100% death rate, but you are not starving. We are not starving yet in this country. But I will say that my position on this has evolved a little bit over time. At first I was really all on board with social distancing and the shutdown.
You're very gullible.
It's not because I'm gullible. It's because I listen to scientists, unlike some people. I listen to scientists. I listen to medical experts, and they say this is the way to do it. Is social distancing, isolation, quarantine, keeping people apart from each other. But then I saw that 4-mile long line going to the food bank here in San Antonio, and I realized that this is unsustainable. We can't. Yeah, we can't. What you did, you told me so. This can't last. Nathaniel was afraid of like rioting in the streets, and that's not that far fetched. It's not that far fetched anymore. I saw that line, and part of it is that San Antonio has a really high rate of poverty, the highest rate of poverty of any of every major city in the country.
We a poor city.
We are a poor city. We're a poor city, and so, when you have people who are, barely making it, missing one paycheck is enough to throw them into, uh, a desperate situation. And so I realized that Nathaniel and I, we're not, we're middle class. We had a little savings. We have some other income streams that are not affected by this. So we're okay. We're paying our bills. We're staying afloat. But that puts us in a situation where we are actually among the privileged in this, because there are some people who is like, you shut them down. They're like, well, I understand what the doctors and the scientists are saying, but I got to feed my family. And people are not going to sit around and watch their kids go hungry. That is not something that's going to happen. And our government, I'll let you talk in a minute. I'm real chatty, I'm real talky. But our government has, I think, failed to actually take care of people in this. And people go, oh, I don't want the government taking care of me. That's socialism. Like, but yeah, we pay taxes so that if something like this happens and nobody else can step up to do it, that's what the federal government ostensibly is for.
But Dad, you're forgetting one thing. We wouldn't be in this financial mess if the government hadn't arbitrarily decided that the virus was like the most deadly thing in the world, and it's not.
Well, the virus isn't the most deadly thing in the world. It's not as bad as Ebola, where 80% of the people who get it die.
They're acting like this virus is AIDS and Ebola all rolled into one, and we're all going to get them everything outside.
Here's the definition of rolled into one. A characteristic strong from different people or things combined in one person or thing.
Our Google machine is listening to us. We should turn that off. The government can hear us. Okay. So the virus is not the most deadly, but it is highly contagious, and they don't really know the mortality rates right now. Like in New York City, it was like 10%, but they don't know how many people actually had it. So those numbers are really not. Those numbers are not accurate. But 10% mortality is really high. And let me tell you this. As inconvenient as this is, you said the one thing that's more deadly than the virus is starvation. And starvation is more deadly. But whether you die of starvation or from the virus, once you are dead, you stay dead. So, here in 6 months or a year, we start to rebuild the economy. People go back to their jobs. Hopefully before that. It would be great if it was before that. But people start going back to their jobs. We start rebuilding the economy. If you've lost your business because of this, you begin to rebuild your business. You get loans. You start rebuilding your business. But the people who can't rebuild their businesses or go back to work are the ones who are dead. And one thing, as an old guy, I can assure you, having known a lot of people who died, is that they stay dead. They stay dead forever. And once they are dead, they can no longer help to take care of their family.
Is that always the case?
That is always the case. 100% of the time, they stay dead. And once they're dead, they can't take care of their families. They can't pay the rent, not even one more time. They can't buy any more groceries.
Dad, I think you ever give me liberty or give me death.
Give me liberty or give me death. Well, in the case of the virus, you can have both. Yeah, those people who are protesting on the steps of the state houses and stuff. I mean, I understand because
You mean the freedom fighters?
freedom fighters, or whatever, well armed. Why do they always bring their guns to these? It seems like it's a mixed message. Why do they bring their guns to talk about opening up, the economy? Why do they bring their guns to every rally? The open carry people think it's always an excuse to bring their gun and wave it around. It's like, well, you're mixing your messages. Wouldn't your message be more effective if you showed up at the courthouse or at the state house and you're wearing your masks and you're 6 feet apart holding signs that say, we're adults, we can work responsibly, well, let us go back to work? Wouldn't that be more effective than waving your gun around and spitting in each other's faces and spreading the virus? Because mark my words, I'll let you talk in a minute. I'm sorry. Mark my words, here in a couple of weeks, a lot of those people who are at those protests are going to have the virus. And a week after that, some of them are going to be dead.
But good news, because of this protest, people like Governor Whitmer are finally allowing people to buy garden tools again.
Governor Whitmer's letting people buy garden hose again?
Yeah.
Well, there was maybe a little overreach. There's maybe a little overreach on that because, people have to, if Garden hose is not a great example, but what if your toilet's leaking? And you got to go buy one of those wax rings to make your toilet stop leaking. If your toilet's leaking, that's a serious problem. And people are home using the potty a lot, sitting on it, making it leak, and you got to be able to go to the hardware store and get that stuff. I think hardware stores are essential businesses. I think a hardware store is an essential business.
But that's the problem. Because people are scared, every governor is able to say, well, just make up these arbitrary rules and say, because COVID.
The reason the governors had to make up arbitrary rules, had to come up with their own plan, is because the federal government failed to lead and come out with a plan, drop the ball. I am no fan of Trump, but oh my God, now. He was warned early. He dismantled a lot of our ability to respond to something like this earlier on. Then he was warned. He didn't listen to his advisors. He didn't listen to experts around him because he always thinks he's the smartest guy in the room, and he never is. But he didn't listen, and so this thing got out of hand. The economy is shut down and in tatters now because he failed to act when he had the chance. He failed to act and do anything about this before it got like this.
The economy is shut down because governors had power trips.
Governors have power trips because Trump said, I don't know that they have power trips, but they took the lead on this, and maybe they did. They took the lead. Nuremberg, Wolf, Greg Abbott had to take the lead on this stuff. All the governors had to do something on this because Trump abdicated his responsibility. He said, "Well, let's let the governors decide." Then they decide. He's going, "Liberate Michigan." He's anyway.
I mean, Dad, if you were governor of a state, what would be non-essential?
If I were a governor of the state, what would be non-essential? I hate to say, because if it's your job, it's essential to you. Nail salons and stuff. I think nail salons are non-essential. But if that's your job, if that's your business, it's pretty damn essential to you.
Yeah.
But I still don't. I don't know what's non-essential. That's why I'm not a governor. That's why I don't want the responsibility. Trump signed up for this. All those governors signed up for Nuremberg. All these people, they signed up. They fought for this chance. They campaigned. They wanted to do it. And so if they have the responsibility and they're the ones who have to take the consequences of their decisions. They did sign up for it. They asked for the job.
Yes, but can you see the dangers of just thinking of, COVID is so big that we just have to do whatever.
COVID is so big. The dangers of thinking that COVID is so big, so we just have to do whatever they tell us. Here's the thing. They're gonna open up the economy. They're gonna do that because they have to. Because they failed to take care of the individual people, the small businesses, the workers. So they're gonna have to open up the economy. So here's what they're opening it up. It's happening right now. And so what's gonna happen is the virus is gonna spread and more people are gonna die. But they don't really have much choice because they failed to keep that from happening by really making sure that people could eat, that people could pay their rent. Those are important things, and so they're gonna open it up, and that's gonna happen. Those numbers are gonna go up. That's the calculus they're doing. That's the math they're working on. Is like how many people are gonna die.
Which is awful.
It is. It's a terrible thing that they have to do this. That they're having to do this, but they're gonna have to do it, and it's gonna come back and it's gonna spike again. It's gonna wreck the economy again, and
but also one thing to my fellow freedom fighters.
Fellow freedom fighters. Oh my God. Yes.
Don't attack nurses.
Oh yeah. Don't you're attacking nurses like they're crisis actors. Are the 53,000 dead people? Are they all also crisis actors? That's ridiculous.
There's a. If you believe that nurses are crisis actors, then Here's the question. Where did all the nurses go?
Yeah, if all the nurses you see on TV are crisis actors, where are all the real nurses? Are they? And these people who think it's all a big conspiracy are like, you know, conspiracies are by nature secrets, and you'd have to have thousands and thousands of journalists and doctors and nurses and politicians, all of them all in on it, and nobody spilling the beans. It's that would never work. That would never work. Conspiracies have to be kept secret in order to work. And if it's that big, it's not a conspiracy. It can't be kept secret. People talk. It's just their nature. People aren't good at keeping secrets.
You're telling me that the black nurse who makes minimum wage is not probably couldn't keep her mouth. But
I'm guessing that the CNA at the nursing home, who's making $9 an hour, were being told, you know, I want you to act like this is a big conspiracy and these people are all dying, and I want you to go on the news, and she'd ask for a raise for that. She would want more money for that, and if the National Enquirer, whoever, I think the National Enquirer is like dead in the water now, but if some magazine or any journalist came to her and said, is this really happening? I'll give you money to give me the real story, and they would give them the real story because she's making $8 an hour or whatever. CNAs are not paid well, and their lives are on the line with this thing.
But Dad, remember 9/11?
I do remember 9/11.
When they said we had to do all these things to fight the war on terror.
Yes.
And we ended up being groped at the airport 20 years later.
Yeah, we're still getting groped at the airport after 9/11. It's true. The thing is, what I've told Nathaniel is, if you're concerned about the expansion of the police state, well, you should be, because people in power, what they tend to do is try to get more power, and so the police state, they will attempt to expand the police state and expand their powers and take our constitutional rights. But right now, that's I think the main thing, you know, for me is, you know, I see these nurses and doctors talking about the progress of this disease in a person, and it's like, just not everybody gets it that bad, but the people who get it really bad, it's really bad. And I don't want to die. I want to be around. I want Nathaniel to be around. So I'm doing it. He thinks I'm gullible for listening to the Dr. Fauci and listening to scientists, but I'm kind of a fan of science, and because science is
We can stop this.
okay.